what is a divorce coach? We all hear
Yeah.
about them. It seems like a new thing, but I was saying like, and I wonder, is one of the biggest objections that people have, I'm already just like burning money on my divorce lawyer. You want me to go pay a divorce coach now too? What are they going to do? How can I even afford it? Is that something you hear from clients?
Always. And the unfortunate part is people realize way too far into the divorce process, man, I should have gotten this help at the beginning because maybe I wouldn't have just burnt through my $10,000 retainer already. I'm barely halfway through my divorce, no end in sight. I don't know if my lawyer is helping me or not. I don't know what to do. So, yeah, this is a common conversation I have with consult on my consultations because it is just, this is the divorce game that everybody plays. And unfortunately, nobody does it the same way. Nobody follows the same rules. It's just everyone's out there trying to figure it out on their own. And hopefully, we can give your audience today some insights on maybe how to start off in a better way, maybe how to make a change when you're mid divorce, or even post divorce, how to do things differently now that you're in this new chapter. And I did see real fast, someone just commented, am I a licensed attorney? Yes, I am. I'm a licensed attorney in Florida. But as a divorce coach, I help people all over the country as well as internationally too, because the truth is divorce is the same. Whether you live in America, you live in Switzerland, you live in, Maryland or Florida, it doesn't matter. I am not, and we'll get into this, I'm not giving you legal advice, but I'm giving you legal guidance, which is different. And we'll talk about that.
That's helpful. And we're on WTF Divorce. We are all about introducing people to different coaches, see
Mm-hmm.
who's the right fit for you. And that does, I think, differentiate you that you were a divorce lawyer, you have a legal
Mm-hmm.
background that you apply maybe a little differently than, maybe some coaches are more about
Sure.
emotional support, kind of like closer to therapy, and you're like, no, let's dig into the really tactical stuff.
Right. And
And
I'm a mediator as well. I don't want to skip over that part. I'm also a family mediator, and I've been doing that actually longer than I was truly practicing law. And that is really what has helped allowed me to bridge from being a practicing lawyer into coaching, because mediation is all about resolution focused
mhm.
and problem solving and trying to get through divorce amicably. I know that's like a really hard topic to even think of, like that's possible to have an amicable divorce. But I've seen mediations where, yes, the couple literally just hands me a paper with everything they want and I just fill in blanks. And then I've seen an amicable couple come to me saying, we want to work together, but we just don't know how to do that.
Mhm.
So can you help us do that?
Yeah, I wonder today, usually the first move for everybody is like, oh shit, my wife or husband told me they want a divorce. I gotta go get the yellow pages out or Google. I need to find an attorney, have a consult, pay a retainer, and it's like the train has left the station. It sounds like in a lot of ways that is what runs up the bill, gets people like off to a kind of bumpy start
Mm-hmm.
where they're lighting money on fire. Would you say that you could benefit a lot from maybe your first call should be like, or like breathe, take like a few days,
First,
don't do
yes.
anything, and then talk to a divorce coach and just maybe get a feel for like what's the best way to proceed before you hop right in?
Yeah. So that unfortunately is what our society thinks when divorce is on the table. I'm about to get divorced. Let me go have a legal consult. And although that's not wrong per se, because you should be advised on what your legal rights are in your state. You could have these rights that you have no idea about. And if you don't learn from a lawyer, you may be missing out on a lot of things. So I don't say that's not a good thing to do. But I'm not saying go and immediately drop down $5,000, $10,000 on a retainer because you had that legal consult and you're like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. Because the truth is, there are other paths you can take through divorce, even if it is semi-contentious. But you don't know that if you don't fully do your research. Rob, it's like being a kid in high school and you have a research project. You're not just going to run to the one book and get all your information there and write your report, or at least you shouldn't be doing that, right? You should go to multiple sources, and that's what you're taught in school. It's the same concept here in divorce. So I would say, from my perspective, maybe it sounds biased to people, but come see a coach, preferably someone who has a legal and a mediation, but at least a legal background, who can say to you, okay, tell me what's going on. Now I have a better context of what's happening in your potential divorce. Let's talk about your different options. You don't need to just immediately hire that lawyer. Maybe you could potentially put this down the settlement path. Maybe you need to go collaborative divorce. Do you even know what collaborative divorce is, right? So there are these other routes you can take, and you'll never know if you don't get impartial advice. I
Hmm.
don't benefit from you hiring me in the sense of like getting attorney's fees, billable hours. That doesn't benefit me. I'm a like one flat rate type of professional.
Hmm.
Lawyers are going to bill against your retainer. And as soon as that retainer's up, guess what? You're getting an invoice for a new one.
Hmm.
And so I don't benefit that way. I benefit by seeing my client make the right decision from the beginning and try to reach the end of their divorce as quickly as possible, right?
Hmm.
That's how I benefit. Not if you file motions, set depositions, etc.
Right.
That's not how I work.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of lawyers, you might think that like, oh, they're trying to creep in on my territory here, but I imagine a lot of lawyers would prefer a client that comes in knowing what they want. They can wrap the case up quicker, easier, move on to the next case. Because I hear some horror stories from lawyers where they're like, 20% of my cases take up 80% of my
Right.
time and they're driving me crazy. And it seems like we could help smooth out the whole system if we do add some
Mm-hmm.
education and then, add some expertise to it and get this thing done. Because I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest problem for people is it takes forever. And I think we even saw a comment like, what do I do when my ex won't reply to their lawyer or, our
Mm-hmm.
motions? It's like you
Yep.
get stuck in this limbo that is just paralyzing to feel like where you're afraid to pick up the phone. But at the same time, how do you get things moving?
Right.
And
You need help. Majority of my clients, interestingly enough, have lawyers, but they have sought my help because they are realizing either one, they're running through their retainer way too fast and yet not really getting their real, day-to-day concerns addressed, or they're also hiring me because they just feel like their lawyer's not enough. Like, yeah, the lawyer's doing a good job. I see some progress happening in this divorce, but I really can't call my lawyer or text my lawyer daily when my co-parent wants quick changes on things or
hmm.
is a narcissist and is bullying me. Like, I know I shouldn't be emailing and calling my lawyer because I'm just running up more billable fees and I don't want that. How do I keep my expenses down? So those are the type of clients that seek my help because very quickly they realize, especially someone like myself with a legal background, I can answer almost all of that for you
Hmm.
and save you on your attorney's fees. Because, like I said before, my services are not billable hours. You've already paid one fee, and guess what? You're never getting another invoice from me again. That's it. So use my services to the max potential, which is even, and I think we'll get into this in a little bit, I get asked like the most trivial of questions daily from my clients. And then sometimes I get some real heavy ones that we have to talk out. And then it may ultimately end with me saying, that's such a great question. And although we've discussed it and looked at it from multiple perspectives, at the end of this, that's a real legal based question.
Hmm.
And I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. You have a lawyer. This is the right question to ask your lawyer and to use billable time on, right?
Hmm.
But lawyers constantly get you, like you said, 80% is using up their time on the trivial things. Your lawyer should be used strictly for the legal matters.
Hmm.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, and right, and you can even help say, here's what I think you should say to your lawyer to
Mhm.
get this resolved quickly. Because, I mean, we spend so much time, everything is communicating electronically. What am I going to text here? And let's even talk about that. We don't want to keep people too long, but like even today, I'm sure you're getting texts from clients. Like, what's an example of something one of your clients said to you yesterday or today? What was a problem they were struggling with? I think you showed me one. It's like, should I add this to what you said?
Mhm.
Is that because it's like we're like formatting
Yeah.
like this essay when in reality like nobody wants to receive that. You don't want to receive some wall of text that's starting off critically and you've got the emotions behind it.
Right.
What's
Right.
example of something that a client sends you with for help
I
with?
have so many examples going through my head, and I want to address one quick one before I give you one that is exactly what you're asking about. I literally told a client this morning, no joke, this morning, I get an email from a client. They're in the middle of a divorce and she's the breadwinner. He has some medical bills that need to be paid. He's texting her, why are you not paying my medical bills? Right? And my response to her, and she said, what do I do with this? My response to her was, it's not your responsibility to pay his medical bills that he incurred, even though your past behaviors show that you would make payment on these. However, you are in the middle of a divorce, and this is a really big financial question. So although my opinion is to tell you, hands off on this one, this is his responsibility. I'm gonna like turn you around and tell you this is when to email your lawyer, because I don't want to tell you to do something that has a financial consequence to it that may affect you later on, right? So that's an example from before, but like that was literally my first thing this morning when I opened my laptop. Okay, so to answer your other question, one major thing that comes up, especially for people who are post-divorce, is dealing with alimony payments, alimony and or child support. You have a non-paying or late paying ex. What do you do about these things, especially when it is happening often? So one example I had sent to you was, I have a client who is repeatedly receiving her alimony payments late, and that is a direct violation of her marital settlement agreement. So could she take this to court? She could, but we're trying to avoid going down that route because it's a long one and it's not a guarantee either, unfortunately. So, you know, he is very direct with her, definitely veers towards the narcissistic tendencies, and really communicates to her in a very threatening, bullying type of format. Her way of wanting to respond is to be defensive, and I don't blame her for it. She's very triggered by the way he speaks to her, even through written form, and I'm working with her to be direct, to be very direct, remove anything that sounds sort of defensive, like you want to explain yourself, like you want to have a comeback. And I tell her, and this is the example I sent to you, where I'm saying you need to be as direct as he is, not to do a tit for tat, but it's to create boundaries. You need to teach your ex, I can't be bullied by the way you talk to me. Even if I know I'm right, you're wrong, and I want to give, the last word because I'm right here, that will literally get you nowhere. Why are we going down that route? So instead, be direct. And you have that example that I sent you, Rob. So if you wanted to show your audience that after our live, go for it, because it's how I communicate with my clients. And at the end of the conversation, she says, thanks for that tough love. I needed that.
Hmm.
And that's what
Yeah, I
I'm
think
giving my clients.
right. And I think sometimes we'll send that to friends, which is very helpful. But if a friend's not going through divorce or have gone through it, they really don't have the
Mm-hmm.
context. Their response might
Yeah,
be like, "Oh, f them. What do they think they can
right.
do? Get whatever they want? Write them back that." And like, well, you might feel that. That's not going to help your cause. So I think in a lot of ways, just you offering, besides the tactical, the peace of mind of just like my cortisol is down now because I know what to write. I'm going to send it. Hopefully, it kind of puts a stamp on it where we're done. But if they respond, then I have something else, almost
Yep.
like a copy paste script,
Yeah.
like let's talk about that another time, or
Yeah.
thanks for letting me know. Things like that, like we take for granted, but like when somebody can hold your hand a little
Mm-hmm.
and get you there, it's like a priceless thing because you can. I don't know how many people have just like lost their day thinking about their texts, and I cannot believe they texted this, and they're probably not even thinking about it. That was just the way they communicate, and you're going insane
Yeah.
because of a message you got on your phone.
Right. Right. And look, your natural instinct is to be defensive, and you want to stand up for yourself and be an advocate. And that's what we teach people. And I teach my clients too, to stand up and don't be bullied. But at the same time, you always have to keep in mind who your audience is. And if you're going to try to be defensive and engage, I promise you almost 100% of the time, you're going to lose,
Hmm.
because that person doesn't care. They don't care what you have to say. They don't care if you're right and they're wrong. They're still going to go down that route of trying to manipulate the situation. So you need to create your boundaries by just sticking to it. And what I tell my clients is, I'm here to make sure you're being held accountable. So yeah, sometimes I'm going to talk to you in a way that is that tough love. And it may sound a little like I'm bossing you around, but that's why I'm here. because your friends may not talk to you in that way. You know, I'm going to validate you and say, I hear you. I know what you want to do, and you're not wrong, but here's why you can't do that.
Mhm.
And then I tell that, you know, so on and so forth. So that's the tough love you hire when you get a coach who understands more than just like the emotional stuff going on. Because there always are legal repercussions pretty much to every decision you make in a divorce.
Yeah. And you have to think about like what is the result you want? It's not
Right.
really to make them feel bad or to feel like you know, do you want them to admit that you were right? Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
maybe your
most of
ego
the time,
does.
yes.
And we all do, right?
Sure.
Like but it's just not productive. And
No.
think about how much of this goes on, you know, 15 years ago, you were not having text exchanges with your ex-husband, ex-wife. It's kind of a new territory.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what to say. So I think it's natural to be overwhelmed by like this expectation that we have to like perfectly communicate with people we like, people we're disagreeing with, all of that. So having support, I think, is extremely valuable
Yeah.
during this time. So tell
Yep.
us real quick as we wrap up, like what are options of working with you if somebody is
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it starting out, if they're in the middle of it, or even if they're like you said, figuring out alimony and support
Mm-hmm.
issues. What's that look
Yep.
like?
Well, I just saw someone comment, like, what does a divorce consult or a consult with a coach look like? It looks like a consult with an attorney. That's what it looks like, right? We would meet like this through Zoom and we talk. You give me some background information on your situation, and I kind of give you my quick feedback on how I can help you get out of um, the problem you're in and get to where you want to be, right? That's what a coach is really supposed to be used for. Problem solving right now, and let's get you in the direction you hope to go down. Sometimes we have to make changes, but you know, at least give you that push to get down there and to hold your hand the whole way. So a consult with me is absolutely free. I give you almost up to an hour of time, depending on the conversation. And we hash out like what are the right way to work with me, how can I truly help you? And I don't want to have a client who really doesn't need my services. I don't want to waste your time and money, and I don't want to waste mine because my clients get so much of my attention. I am very quality based. I'm not a coach that just wants tons and tons of clients and I meet with you here and there. My clients know that when they have a problem, they will text me and get a response within an hour or two, sometimes immediately if we're both on at the same time, right? So that's what you get when you work with me. You get my full attention on your problems, on your divorce, on your strategy to get to the end, and helping you today, right now. Problem solving what is happening right now when you wake up this morning. You're not going to wait days or a week to hear back from me. You're going to know that, shoot, this just happened. I'm going to text Jenny. I'm going to hear from her and I'm going to get through this today and I'm going to feel better. And that's what I offer my clients once they work with me. So then to answer your next question, how do you work with me? I've created two ways. I've really tried to like simplify my services. You either work with me one-on-one, private coaching. And usually what that looks like is we meet for an hour once, maybe every other week or every week, depending on your need. Or we might break it up into 30-minute sessions of time because not everybody wants to sit for an hour and problem solve, right? It's a lot, it's heavy. So it's very client dependent, but I give my clients that ability to decide for them. I will not tell them, this is how you work with me and that's it. There's a lot of flexibility. With my private coaching, you also get unlimited access to work with me or to text with me through Instagram DM or email constantly, all day long, nights, weekends, early mornings. The only time I never respond is in the middle of the night because I'm sleeping. No joke. I'm always on my phone. I wish I wasn't, but that's just the nature of my business, right? Um, so that's the first way. The second way to work with me is in my group support program. So I wanted to create something where people could get that support from a coach, but not pay a higher price tag because not everybody is in the position to do that. So this program is under $100, which is crazy that that's all I charge, but that's all I charge. And we meet once or twice a week through an open Zoom link. I give it to all the members. You come on and off the call during that hour, depending on your schedule. I change the hours during the week, trying to accommodate as many people in their schedules. We're all different time zones also. And you also then get unlimited DM access with me and email. So you get that semi-private coaching in a support system or a group support system, but you also get the immediate interaction with the written format. So it depends on your needs. If you need a lot of in-depth help, hire me privately. And sometimes, not some, actually a lot of my clients go from private to my group when we're done doing the private work. And I love that because they want to continue working with me. They see the value and the support I provide, and I get to stay in it with them until things eventually kind of taper down.
Yeah, it makes sense that you can even in the heart of it, I really need private help, but you know that you don't want that to last forever,
No,
neither you do. So then you can
and I don't either. I tell my
transition,
clients,
right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
love working with you, but I don't want to work with you forever because
right.
I want to see the results of our coaching together. I want to see you get to the end of the divorce. I want to see you find a happier place. I want to see you co-parent in a healthy way. But sometimes that takes a lot longer for others because of the different personalities involved. But at least knowing I'm like literally in your pocket, helping you along the way until you don't need me anymore. And then you don't need me.
Yeah, and it's understandable too because you might, this is what we hear a lot. I've got my act together, I'm listening to the podcasts, I'm reading the books. My ex is not. So that can be very frustrating because you're
Mm-hmm.
not married to them
Yeah.
anymore. So you can't tell them what to do. Good luck sending them Instagram Live to go watch to help them out. Like,
Right.
I think it's just like, it's a lot for somebody, especially right after divorce, where you're like, I don't know. I thought I know what I was doing, but they're not responding to it. So
Yeah.
find support, educate
Totally.
yourself, accept the fact that like this is very hard, and like if you can onboard to a better way of communicating, it can literally
Right.
just save your entire sanity for, let's be
Right.
honest, it's going to be years. You're going to be
It
co-parenting with
will
this
be. And
person.
as you've experienced, like even once the divorce is complete, that doesn't mean your problems just stop.
Hmm.
Things go on when the divorce is final. There's legal things that have to be wrapped up, there's emotional, there's the huge co parenting piece that changes. And now you have to go from being married to divorcing to being just co parents.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of shifting around that has to happen. And you shouldn't have to go about that alone. And you don't need to. And you don't always have to pay a high price tag for that support. It's there for you.
Yeah. And also know Jenny is very plugged into the divorce and the legal world, so she could tell you, oh, you're probably going to need somebody to help you with your mortgage,
Oh, yeah.
maybe your estate, all these things where you can refer people and say your divorce lawyer might not tell you these things, but before you sign those
Yeah.
papers, maybe get these things done. Go talk to this person, because if you can get stuff done before you sign, like you can save yourself a ton of pain and
Very much
money
so.
down the road.
I am always sending out referrals to other professionals because divorce is not like in a silo and all you need is a lawyer, maybe a therapist, maybe a coach. You need a lot of other professionals. And that, though, Rob, is for those people who understand that if you want to set yourself up for success after divorce, you have to really tap into all the professionals who are involved in your life. And it's not just a lawyer,
Hmm.
it may be a financial advisor, an accountant, a mortgage broker, a realtor. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Right.
So it's very important to surround yourself with other professionals to set yourself up for success. And then hopefully you don't need these people.
Right.
You do it at the beginning and then, cut your losses.
Yeah, and a lot of times your husband or your wife was the one handling a lot of this. So this is a whole new
Oh, yeah,
territory for you where you
exactly.
maybe have not even worked with a lawyer or anybody like this before. So get the help. We saw a couple people in here that are going to be messaging you already,
Yeah, so many
excited to work with
amazing
you.
comments coming through too. I wish we could have answered them all because I love how people love to engage and learn because this divorce world is all about educating yourself.
Yeah,
Number one, you have to educate yourself. And it's not just scrolling Instagram or hearing your neighbors' war stories. It's doing your own research, meeting with professionals, learning how things will affect your situation because your situation is unique and no one has
absolutely.
the same one.
Yes, and laugh a little and find some community along the way. That's what we try to
Totally.
provide, because if people were just listening to us talk about divorce all day, they'd probably want
Boring.
to jump out the window too. So make sure
Totally.
you take some time for yourself. But yeah, I appreciate everybody in the comments.
Yes,
Family
thank you
Talk with
everybody for
Jenny.
engaging.
Family Talk with Jenny. Is that where people can find you?
That's where you can find me. Best place to get in touch with me. If you want to have a consult, there's links on my page to connect. Or again, feel free to send me a DM. I'm checking my DMs all the time. So DM me, email me, click the links in my bio to set up a free consult.
Yes, a lot better than I need a therapist. She can see me in October. I'm
Right.
like, I got problems now, Jenny. Help me out today.
Right. You will have different problems in October. Let's work with what's here today,
Yeah.
right? And so maybe things will be less in October.
Thank you, Jenny, for
All
being on.
right. Thank you,
Thank
Rob. Take care,
you
everybody.
all. See ya.
Bye.